Welcome, everyone, to the Insurance Perspectives podcast. This is part one of our series on Agents Revolution. On today's show, we have Jim King
Hello, everyone.
and Dave Morton.
Hi, everybody.
Jim will receive his full introduction in part two, as is our custom. But to give some context to the conversations that Jim will contribute to, he is the general manager of Waverly Insurance Agency in Massachusetts, with over 5 years' experience in the insurance industry and much more in the sales space, which I look forward to discussing in part two. Dave Morton is vice president of sales for Agents Revolution. You're approaching your 10th. You're over 9, so you're approaching 10. At 10 years with Agents Revolution, you started as a business development manager, and you've grown with the company as it's grown over the last 10 years, and you're VP of sales now. I have a funny observation while I was writing the script for this. I don't think we've ever met in Oregon. We're both Oregonians. You're in Bend, I'm in Portland. But I don't think we've ever actually been together in the same place in our home state.
That's right. We've had dinner together in San Diego and some other places, but never in Oregon. So it's funny.
I have very fond memories of that dinner. The whole team at Agents Revolution is extremely generous with their time and attention, and have always been great friends of HawkSoft. Agents Revolution is one of our oldest partners. So I want to set the stage for our partnered questions. And I would love, Dave, if you could, and this is going to be a little tricky because you guys do a lot, but could you give me the elevator pitch for Agency Revolution, maybe as a whole, but also like, why would someone use Fuse? Why would they use Forge? What is it that you guys do?
Yeah, I think with value proposition, what Agency Revolution is trying to do is help agencies deliver value to their prospects and clients. And so there's a lot of challenges that insurance agencies face. They have a lot of clients. It's a relationship business. Everybody's, especially in this market, concerned about price. And so we've tried to provide solutions that allow agencies to stand out and deliver their value to prospects and clients through a website solution and a client communication platform.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, fantastic. So the structure of the show is we put our partners in the hot seat for 5 very specific questions. And we start off with what people have to be sick of my jokes at this point. I always describe this as the easy question. This is the most difficult question, and we start with it. But HawkSoft really believes that a story is powerful when connecting with someone and building a relationship. Understanding where someone comes from, why they do what they do, it builds a bond, and it really informs an understanding of like, oh, this is why they do this, or this is how they came to be in this space. So I would love to ask you, Dave, why does Agents Revolution exist? Or if you put it a different way, what is the reason for participating in the independent agency channel?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and I think the best way to put it is that Agency Revolution believes in the independent channel. We think there's a lot of value there for the consumers. We think it's an important part of the insurance distribution channel, and so we believe that it's the best way for both consumers and individuals to get the right coverage. And so we exist to enable agents to do their job well. And so that comes to how do we take what an insurance agency does well and help them to deliver that to the general public, because we think it's a valuable service that when done correctly has a huge impact in people's lives.
Oh, absolutely. That's awesome. I want to dig into where did Agents Revolution come from? Where did you guys get your start, and what did you grow out of?
Yeah. So going back to like the beginning of Agency Revolution, we were a family-run organization by the Jans family. Michael Jans is our founder, and really started by consulting independent insurance agencies on how to market their insurance agency and how to get the word out that they can provide a service to their local communities, and really started from a consulting perspective. That evolved and became a set of technology solutions that we offer today. It's interesting. Lucas Jans, who is Michael's son, was a co-founder in the business, and has taken a lot of those best practices that Michael was teaching from a consulting perspective and put them into a set of technology solutions that help agencies really deliver that same execution, but in a modern way, and to connect with digital consumers. So, and it's interesting that my personal story of how I ended up here is my dad has an insurance agency based out of San Francisco. My brother is now a partner in that agency, and so for me, growing up in the Bay Area, I went sort of a different path. I decided to sell technology, being from Silicon Valley. But then this opportunity, as you said, about 10 years ago came up where I could marry my interest in the insurance channel, which sounds super dorky, with my technology background to help people that I feel like I know what they're trying to do, and help them with technology.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't think I knew that about your dad and brother. That's very cool. And I appreciate that context on the broader history of Agents Revolution. I know Paul Hawkins, our CEO and co-founder, always speaks very highly of Michael. I have a great relationship with Lucas, partially driven by the fact that there aren't many of us InsurTech people in the greater Portland area. It's a growing number, but Lucas recently located to Portland, so we get to see each other periodically. And so there's a lot of good camaraderie between the companies, and I think it's because of some of that shared origin. It helps that we're had our starts kind of in Oregon too, so we were kind of near each other and we could communicate. And so, thank you for that context. So then, I want to dive into more of the meat and potatoes of Agents Revolution and how you guys work with agencies. You guys operate. You're one of the first on the market in the space you're in, but I think listeners will recognize that there are several prominent players in the arena that you guys fight in every day. And something that HawkSoft acknowledges about our own existence in the management system space that has a similar playing field is that 80% of the functionality that we do is shared between our competitors or our peers, a better word. What makes us stand out is that 20%. How we approach business in a different way, how we execute differently on a particular workflow. And so that's what this question is aiming to uncover. If you had to pick one aspect of Agents Revolution that draws in and keeps a customer, what would that be?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because at the end of the day, what Agency Revolution does is we provide a website solution and a client communication platform. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of options for agencies out there in those two categories. And really where I think we differentiate ourselves is while we provide great technology, we aim to deliver that technology as an extension of the agency's firm. So we don't want to just build you a website and then say good luck, or implement a client communication strategy for you and say good luck. We want to come alongside of you and really highlight the personality of the independent agency and help agencies deliver that unique story online and through their communications with clients. And so for us, that's the differentiator, I think, is when you hire Agency Revolution, whether it's for one of our products or both of our products, you are hiring a team of people that A, understand insurance, that B, have a sincere desire to serve what you're trying to accomplish, and then C, we're going to do as much as we can to own the execution of that for you. And so yeah, that's I think the differentiator for us is you're hiring an
Yeah.
ally, you're hiring a partner, you're hiring somebody that's going to help you accomplish your goals.
So, Jim, I'd love to bring you into this, and not to put you on the spot. Um, how does that square is the word that's coming to me? How does that square with your experience with Agents Revolution?
Actually, it's probably underselling um, what they deliver. Um, so a little bit of context will help here.
Hmm.
We had made a decision to change our agency management system to HawkSoft about 3 years ago, and at the time we were looking for an automation platform that we could use to basically touch our customers on a regular basis. And quite frankly, I was thrilled when I understood the strategic relationship that existed between the two companies. So we started by engaging Forge 3 at the time, which was not part of Agency Revolution, to help us with the website design. And shortly after that, I was thrilled to learn that Agency Revolution was acquiring Forge 3 because it took everything I wanted to do and put it in a single package under one
Hmm.
umbrella. And
Hmm.
it's great to have strategy. It's great to have concepts about what you want to do, but the execution is always the most difficult part. And
Hmm.
I have to say that the experience that I've had with Forge 3 and then Agency Revolution in total, and that includes Fuse as the marketing platform, has been extraordinary from an execution standpoint. Anytime we need anything, we reach out, and their support folks are just all over it. Couldn't be happier.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. Especially, it's obviously a very biased perspective because it's how HawkSoft tries to approach things as well. But there's a lot you can teach people to fish, but sometimes teaching also requires a little hands-on demonstration and interaction. And so I'm really happy to hear that Agents Revolution embraces that as well. And it's not a new fact that I'm learning. It's always kind of the general scuttlebutt around the industry is how friendly Agents Revolution's team is. I see that on the technical side too. It permeates through all levels for sure.
Well, it's my experience almost anywhere that you go that execution is the most difficult thing to
Mm,
do. That you can plan, you can have great thoughts about what you want to do, but actually pulling it off is really, really hard. And these guys
yeah,
have made it much easier than it might have been otherwise, and certainly much easier than I expected it to be.
Yeah. I
it's
want to give some
fantastic.
credit there to the Forge 3 team. So when we acquired
Hmm.
Forge 3, we acquired a great website solution, but we acquired a better team, to be honest with
Hmm.
you. And so Monica, who was the leader of that team on their operations side, has now come over and is running all of AR operations. And when we acquired that business, we didn't let go a single person. We brought over every single person because we knew that really the secret behind what they were doing is the way that they treat their customers, which lined up beautifully with how Agency Revolution wanted to treat our
Yeah,
customers. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's been my experience is that when we're dealing with Forge prior to the Agency Revolution acquisition, they were great. It's almost as if you took two teams that had the exact same culture and just
Mm,
wove them together.
yeah, I had a long history working with the Forge 3 team, and it was exciting when you guys combined forces. And I thought you did a great job of presenting that information too. Um, Mergers and acquisitions is something that our industry is becoming increasingly familiar with, and I think Agents Revolution and Forge was a great example of like how to do it well, how to explain it appropriately to customers and the industry partners. Yeah, that was several years ago at this point. Time gets really wonky, but I remember the execution being like, "Oh, this is very good." Um, and I've had a great interaction with Monica in the past too. Um, this is always like a weird left turn in the conversation, but something very important to HawkSoft's audience is the concept of data ownership and data governance. When working with client communication platforms, with your websites, there is an increased scrutiny on how is data used, how is, especially in the marketing world, like what's going on with cookies and trackers and all this fun stuff. Um, so I love to give our partners an opportunity to speak to that general concern that our customers have. HawkSoft's position is that an agency owns their data. We are just stewards of it. Um, I'd love to know, Dave, how does Agency Revolution approach data ownership with regards to your customers?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it's super important. And I think HawkSoft has the right perspective, which is the data is the agencies, and it's always the agencies. And so that's the perspective that we take as well, is that the data is owned by the agency. It's always the agencies. We cannot use that data or interfere with that relationship that the agency has with their client in any way, shape, or form. We will aggregate data to say things like, I'm making up this number, but across our platform, we sent 5 million emails last month. But that's the only, we anonymize the data when we do that. And that's the only way that we use aggregated data to sort of help us understand what's going on our own systems. But yeah, we don't want to try and interfere or make money off of or do
Yeah,
anything like that that would upset the stewardship that agencies trust us with in regards to their client information.
perfect. Super straightforward. And aggregation and analytics is a very common practice. HawkSoft does it as well. We'll look at things in the aggregate. Um, sometimes you have to learn that way, and so I think it's standard practice. People should be aware of that. And I thank you for your directness in that answer. Now, this is my favorite two questions we save for the end, and they're a pair. So we approach this podcast as like a dialogue between technology providers and insurance professionals, which means it's a two-way street. We all have there. It's important to have balance in the relationships here. We provide a service to agencies. Agencies use our service and provide us feedback. So this is the feedback question for the technology provider to the agency. And fortunately, East Coast, West Coast, we have a lot of distance between us. So it'll take time for Jim to exact revenge for what your answer might be. But also, given the context, you have family that works in insurance and has an agency. I think you probably have a pretty good perspective on this question. What is the hardest part of working with insurance agencies?
Yeah, I think, it's a great question because we love insurance agencies, we serve insurance agencies, and at the same time, there's differences, right? And I would say a couple of things come up. One is that insurance agencies, as a gross generalization, expect, especially technology projects, to go perfectly, like right
Mm-hmm.
out of the gate. And if there's a single hiccup, sometimes insurance agency owners can say, "Oh my gosh, this whole thing, let's throw the whole thing out." Whereas I think uh, businesses that are more tech forward understand that when you're implementing something new, a hiccup doesn't mean a failed project. A hiccup
Mm-hmm.
means that really we're just one step closer to getting to what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's one area that I would say is difficult about working with insurance agencies. And we try and tailor our explanations of what's going on to that. But yeah, I'll just pause there and say that's one one area.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's I think I definitely had personal projects where the first hurdle, if I'm frustrated, it's just like, you know what, it's not worth it. And I think the last few years for insurance professionals have been hard and frustrating, and so I can definitely see, you encounter a hurdle in trying to bring a new piece of technology into play that would supposed to improve your business, and then you're just like, well, I'm maybe burning hours trying to implement this, so I'm just gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater because no system is less of a headache than a system. Um, Jim, you have a long history in um, in technology and kind of, I want to say high tech, but I don't mean software specifically. I know your background, a lot of like data sensors and instruments and things that are probably difficult to implement and deploy for businesses. And so I'd love to know your perspective on what Dave just said. Have you seen that in your peers in the industry?
So I think that's more kind of a general human nature sort of
Sure.
reaction than it is specific to the insurance industry, and that anytime you make a change, excuse me, or attempt to implement something new, the expectation that it's all going to go smoothly is a little bit unrealistic, but nonetheless,
Mm,
I think is widely held. And I can appreciate the frustration that people have when the initial implementation doesn't go well, and they think that the entire effort is a colossal failure.
mm,
Um, it's just not a sound way to approach it. I think anytime that you implement something new, you've got to expect that there's going to be bumps in the road,
mhm,
and that's the attitude that we approach things with the engagement with HawkSoft initially, and then the engagement with Agency Revolution, Forge, and then Agency Revolution. We just anticipated that there were going to be things that we didn't know or didn't understand,
mhm,
and I think that gave us the patience to kind of work our way through little bumps.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. And I can definitely appreciate that. It's not isolated just to insurance professionals. Sean Hawkins, one of our other co-founders and our chief product officer, as we've been going through our own big platform change for HawkSoft agencies from our HawkSoft 5 product to HawkSoft 6, we've had to sit back and acknowledge the difficulty in implementing new technology and kind of give grace to our customers, being like, okay, going through this, everyone's going to have some friction and change, and it's just a matter of like taking a step back, breathing, um, and maybe leaning in and trusting a little, which is difficult to do, especially right now in a hard market. Um, so the that was like what could be better. Um, Now we recover as our last question and set things better with agency space, so you don't have to hide at any conferences. That was a very fair observation about the industry. No one. This is a shout out to any future guest, and not to say that the answer was not great. The answer was fantastic, but I really want to start a fight. Like no one has really like just been like, oh, they like suck at golf or something like that. Like there's no, which is never true. Insurance agents are some of the best golfers I know. But my last question for Dave: what is the best part of working with insurance agencies?
Yeah, this is a great question. And I think at their core, insurance agencies are relationship people. Because when you think about the independent channel, the relationship is such a key part of what is delivered. And I say that because the general public can get insurance quotes and can transact business without the independent channel. And what the general public, I think, is looking for from insurance agencies is two things. One is they're someone that knows their situation and cares
Mm,
about their situation. And that doesn't come about from just taking in a bunch of questions. That comes about from somebody on the other end of the phone or in person that is generally curious and caring about that person's situation and wants to do the right thing. And so outside of relationship, what I think the general public wants is uh, insurance expertise, but delivered through relationship. And
mm,
and so tying this back to the question, when I'm working with insurance agencies, I find that most agencies have the best interests of their clients in mind, and and they care about their reputation. They care about
mhm,
how they deliver that experience to their clients, and that comes across. If you care about people, then you also care about the technology providers that you're selecting in your business, and that comes across
mhm,
as well. And so yeah, we try and take that same approach when dealing with insurance agencies. This is not like some prey to be, sold something.
Hmm.
This is
Hmm.
this is another human being that's trying to do a good public service and run a business at the same time. And our job is to help them see where their challenges are and help them see how our solutions can help them overcome their challenges. And the goal being to provide a better experience for the general public. So I think that that might be sound all altruistic or whatever, but I think that to sum up my response, the best part of working with insurance agencies is the relationship that we get to have with them as they are passionate about going out and serving their communities and running their
Mm.
businesses.
No, I love that. And I completely agree. I think that, um, like Paul likes to say, birds of a feather flock together, because at HawkSoft we love bird puns. Um, and um, but it's true though. I think that one of the nice things about the space that we get to operate in is like we get to interact with people that genuinely care about the communities they serve, genuinely care about the technology partners they pick. I completely agree with that answer. So this brings us near the end of part one of our conversation with Agents Revolution. We'd like to bridge the episodes by talking specifically about how the systems work together, well, especially when we're talking with an API partner. Um, my formal role at HawkSoft is Director of Partner Integrations, which means I have worked hand in hand with the team at Agents Revolution, their dev team, their sales team under Dave, as they have been one of the first in our Partner API program. They also have the distinction of being one of our legacy integration partners as well. They used to use a what we call the legacy API before we had the Partner API. Agents Revolution is a two-way API partner, which means the Fuse platform is able to read client and policy data, and it can send back log notes. We mentioned Lucas Jans, who oversees product for Agents Revolution, as a co-founder of the company. Honestly, one of the foremost experts on HawkSoft's API outside of the HawkSoft company. I always enjoy working with him and his team. Um, Dave, is there anything I missed about how Agents Revolution, either Fuse or Forge, works with the HawkSoft management system?
No, I think yeah, you kind of covered it. It's the ability to read the policy contact level detail, take action on that, and then send relevant data back to HawkSoft in terms of what was done. On the website side, also when a form is completed, that can
Yep.
document something inside of the HawkSoft management system. So no, I think that's the key. And I would just say, if I can plug Lucas,
Sure.
I think one of our pieces of secret sauce is that I don't think anybody understands management system data as well as Lucas and how to connect
Hmm.
that to third-party systems. And so a big piece of where our success and our value comes to insurance agencies is the team that he's built that now understands that level of connection.
Absolutely. Well, with that, we're going to close out part one here. Thank you for watching today's episode. Click the video description below to learn more about our guests and to view the latest podcast episode as well as other content from HawkSoft. We appreciate you watching and hope you join us next time on the Insurance Perspectives podcast. Thank you.